Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here. And today we are doing a whip and chat. Whip stands for work in progress. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. As you can tell, I'm not working on anything today. We're doing a face-to-face whip and chat because I need a break. So today is Tuesday that I'm recording this because yesterday, if you didn't know, was my birthday. So I would like to say thank you to everyone who reached out to me to wish me a happy birthday. It was a good day. We're going to get into those shenanigans here in a little bit. But I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful day. Sorry the lighting is off. It's dreary outside and my ring light went out and I can't find my chart. It's a whole mess, y'all. I'm a whole mess. So today I'm supposed to be cleaning my house, but I was like, what other things do I have to do besides clean the house? Because I don't freaking feel like it. I don't want to do it. So I will clean the house when I'm done with this, but I was like, oh snap, it's Tuesday. You never recorded your whip and chat yesterday. You might want to get on the ball. So I was like, all right, bet, let me go ahead and do my whip and chat for today. But, because I already have people messaging me being like, Miss Coffee, you good? You good? I haven't seen a video from you in 2 days. You good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm straight. I'm good. I just took the day off because it was my birthday. I actually planned on putting up a video, but I got so distracted throughout the day that I forgot about the video. And then by 5 o'clock, I was like, they won't notice. Apparently, y'all noticed. But do keep in mind that if my videos do become light over the next couple of weeks, it's not that I'm ghosting you guys. I don't have anything. Like, I have a ton of diamond art clubs, but I unbox a lot of diamond art clubs on my channel. And at this point, I don't know, just like, I don't know if I want to do, like, I'll save the haul video for another day. But right now, I'm just like, I'm just going to take and maybe not post 6 days a week. Miss Coffee needs a break. I'm just saying, like, I work hard for my monies. So I'm just like, I take a couple of days off. They won't notice if I'm gone for a couple of days. Well, apparently, Nene, y'all noticed and was like, Miss Coffee, you good? I'm like, I'm good. So if you don't see videos every day, do know that I'm fine. I probably just don't have a video for that day. Now, for the rest of the week, I should be videoing it up, I think. But the mail is taking hella long to get stuff here to me. So if I don't have a video, I don't have a video. I mean, I could make up a video. I thought about doing a video where I react to you guys' diamond paintings. Like, you guys send in diamond paintings and, like, give me some stats on the diamond painting. And then I sit and review them. But I'm not sure about that. Like, I was going to do the rant one. Excuse me. I was going to do the rant videos, like, once a week where I do, like, a 10-minute rant about stuff in the diamond painting world. But then Mr. Coffee was like, nay. Most of the people there don't like you anyways. And then you're going to say stuff to hurt their feelings on top of them not liking you. I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's the reason why you guys haven't seen the rant videos. Because I don't want to hurt feelings. And the fact that no matter what I say, okay, does anybody else have this happen to them? Because it can't just be me. No matter what I say to people or how I say it, people automatically think I'm mad. Miss Coffee, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm like, all I said was hi. Like, I know I come off, like, very, like, strong and, you know, abrasive sometimes. But for the most part, I'm pretty chill. Like, even when somebody's giving me constructive criticism or being rude or whatever, I'm usually pretty chill. And it doesn't take a lot for me to lose my temper. But it's not something that I'm just like, why are you saying hi to me just because you said hi to me? Like, it's not anything like that. So unless I tell you I'm upset about something, please don't assume that I'm upset about something. It's just how I talk. I can't help it. And I can't change it just because so-and-so Susie W over there is sad because I said then get a better sealer versus however I'm supposed to say it. I don't know. But I've been getting a lot of people that are been upset because of how I say things and are like, I didn't mean to upset you. I'm like, I'm not mad. The problem is, when you tell somebody that you think that they're mad and they're not actually mad, that makes them mad. So it's a whole cycle. So Mr. Coffee was just like, don't be out here hurting people's feelings because you're going to say something that's going to offend somebody or somebody's going to get their ass chapped and you're just going to be sitting there like, okay. So he's like, I don't know if this is a good idea. So we're still thinking about it. Mr. Coffee's my executive producer, I guess. He helps me with video ideas. And then we came up with the idea of getting you guys to submit diamond paintings to me and for me to give my reaction of the diamond painting. So I thought, oh, well, that would be a good thing for a video because with me not wanting to unbox a bunch of stuff right now, like I have so much stuff and I don't really want to keep unboxing stuff unless it's necessary. Like unless it's PR for something like Diamond Art Club sneak peeks or something. I don't really want to keep unboxing stuff from the same companies. Like, that's one of the other reasons why I won't go strictly to just, like, licensed artwork. I'd literally be unboxing the same, like, what, 12 companies? I don't want to do that. That's boring. Like, I'm sorry. I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. But I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Here in the coffee house, we've had some good days and some interesting days. I got a new appliance that's still sitting in the box for my birthday. I got a Ninja Foodie. And I asked for an oversized Snuggie for my husband. I did not get my oversized Snuggie. So guess what I made him purchase for me today? Now, if you don't know what a Snuggie is, it's essentially a blanket. I am obsessed with blankets. I collect blankets. I like blankets. Not just any blanket. They're like throw blankets, so they're not huge. But because I live in a place where the wind hurts my face, I love blankets. And they have this thing called a Snuggie. Now, when the Snuggie first came out, if you remember the Snuggie, it just had arms, and it was a throw blanket with arms. And then the Snuggie has evolved, okay? Because that's how the world works. Everything evolves, okay? So the Snuggie has gone from just a thin cloth microfiber blanket. Now they have a hoodie, like a hoodie Snuggie with that like really soft, whatever it is on the inside of it. Look, listen. It has like the hoodie pocket, like you know how that has like square pocket in the front? Has the hoodie pocket, has the hood, the sleeves, and it's a microfiber blanket. And I'm like, I need this in my life. I don't know what possessed my husband to not get this for me, but I was highly upset, especially since it's under $30. So he got it for me, like he ordered it for me today because I don't know. Now, you might have saw me put up a picture of Mr. Coffee in the kitchen. And you're probably like, because I said he was making birthday goodies. Because at first, when I posted the picture, I had no clue what he was doing. And then he got stuck on the recipe, I guess. And then he had to ask for my help. And I'm like, now I can bake. I can cook. I'm Southern. Of course I can. It's in my blood. It's in there. So when I walk up to the thing and I see peaches, and I'm like, hello, what are you making? Now, do y'all remember me talking about it? And I know you do, because I don't never shut up about talking about stuff, especially if I want something. Look, listen, I will talk your ear right off your face if I want something and I don't have it. I've been talking to my mom for the last 2 or 3 years about making me a cookbook of all the recipes she made us as kids. Will I use all the recipes? No. Will I use most of the recipes? Probably. One of the recipes in there is something that my mom is known for, which is her peach cobbler, okay? This woman puts her foot in this peach cobbler, y'all. Grown people fight over this peach cobbler, okay? This isn't just your old typical, let me go to Walmart and grab something off the shelf that says peach cobbler. Nay. This is down south Southern peach cobbler, okay? Like the bubbly, syrupy deliciousness and the crusty top part of it. It is delicious. If you love peaches, you'll love peach cobbler. So I walk over to the counter and I'm like, what are you doing? What you got there? Now, Mr. Coffee was just like, I didn't know how to do this, so I'm going to need your help. And I'm like, are you going to tell me what you're making? And he's like, well, I know you don't bake. I do bake, just not when you're around, because you think that you're the old, like he thinks he is like Emerald Lagasse of baking over here, okay? Like he has his own little cake pans that I can't touch and all this. I'm like, how am I supposed to make a cake if I can't touch your cake pans? Well, I'll make the cake. Like, he has to make every cake for everyone's birthday. The problem is, one thing you might not know about Miss Coffee, little tidbit about Miss Coffee. I hate cake. There, I said it. Technically, I don't hate cake. I hate frosting. I'm not a... Okay, write down in the comments, first question of the video. We're not even 10 minutes in. Do you like frosting? Yay or nay? I hate frosting. I hate it. Anytime I get a cake, I scrape that frosting right off there. I don't need that extra set of diabetes, okay? I got enough heart problems. I don't need the diabetes as well, okay? I don't like frosting. It's just sugar and butter and cholesterol and diabetes. I don't want it. I don't need it. No, thank you. No. So the only cake I will eat is pound cake. Well, I should say the only cake I'll eat and enjoy is pound cake. I love pound cake. And Walmart here sells a variety pack of pound cake where it has like the 4 sections, and the 4 sections all have different types of pound cake, like Louisiana Crunch, lemon pound cake, chocolate chip pound cake, sock it to me pound cake, which is like a cinnamon, I think, pound cake. It's delicious. Now, if you remember when Minna was here, I used to always get lemon pound cake from Starbucks. Have I gotten any since she's been gone? Hell no, I'm not going up to Starbucks because they won't be calling out my name. No, because I'll put Bueller as my name and have them search for me all day. Bueller. Only a couple of y'all will get that reference. Anywho, so I walk up there and I'm like, okay, well, what are you making? And he's like, well, I know you don't really technically, like to bake. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you making? He goes, I did a thing. I wanted to surprise you. And I'm like, another thing Miss Coffee hates is surprises, because they never work out for me. Never. He tried to surprise me once with one of my favorite sodas, which is cherry wine from down south. You can't buy it here. He tried to surprise me once. I opened the the box, and the soda had been sitting, I guess, outside. I don't know what the postal workers did, but it burst in my face. I don't like surprises. No, I don't like surprises. I want to know what's happening to me so that I can be ready to judo chop something in the throat. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what, we've had this conversation before, my dear. What did I tell you about surprises? What did I say? You don't like surprises. Then why are we surprising me? He's like, well, this is a good surprise. You say that every time, and it always ends up with me either going to the ER, hurt of some way, or got my feelings hurt because it's not what I thought it was. So he's like, well, you'll really like this one. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to have to tell me what you're making so I can help you. Peach cobbler. I'm sorry, what? Now, for those of y'all who don't know, my husband is from New York. He's not Southern. He was born in California, raised in New York. He's not Southern. So when this man propped his lips to say peach cobbler, I almost snapped my, I turned my head so quick, I thought I was going to snap it off my shoulders. I was like, I'm sorry, say what? You making... Now, you can't just have anybody out here all willy-nilly making peach cobbler. That is not how the world works, okay? You got to be like a professional chef from down south. Look, listen, if I go down south and my chef isn't sitting there with half his stomach hanging out and a dirty shirt on, I don't want you making my food. You don't know how to cook. There's just certain things about being down south that you know the sign of a good cook. And one of them is you have to have a dirty shirt on. I'm talking about, I want grease stains and barbecue sauce and bird food or something on your, I don't care. If you ain't dirty, don't get out of my face. You don't know how to cook. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, peach cobbler, you're going to attempt a peach. I'm like, what possessed you to do this? What possessed him was one day, now y'all know Miss Coffee's loud. So one day I'm sitting back here minding my own goddamn crafty business. I'm talking to my parents, and my mom had made my dad a peach cobbler. Now my mom has the diabetes and she ain't supposed to be eating food with bread on it, but she still does. So I have to call her every day and fuss at her. But try telling someone who's from down south that they can't have carbs. Literally everything she eats has carbs. So she's trying to figure out a nice diet. So if anybody out there has a great idea for a carb-free diet where the food does not taste like cardboard and she's not turning into a rabbit eating lettuce all day, hey, let a sister know. Contact me, okay? We got to help Nana out. So my mom made my dad a peach cobbler, and I'm like, you can go ahead and send that up here for my birthday. Y'all don't even got to get me nothing. Just send me that for my birthday. And she's like, no. Why? My mama, I swear she hates my life. I swear she does. I'm like, why won't you send me the goddamn peach cobbler? You can't eat it. Look, listen, she's sitting on the phone eating the goddamn peach cobbler. I'm like, that's why your blood pressure high now. Because you don't stop eating all those foods. I can't help it. You better help it. You better learn to help it. Because look, listen, you ain't supposed to be having all them carbs. Look, I fuss at my mom all the time, and she just laughs at me. And my dad's like, she a grown woman. I try to get her to stop. She don't want to stop. Try telling Southern people they can't eat what they love. I'm like, your doctor should have gave you a list of things that you can and can't have. And she goes, they didn't. And my dad's like, yeah, they did. They're fussing. My parents are like the quintessential old people. They just bicker back and forth all day. So I'm like, well, why won't you send me no peach cobbler? I ain't had peach cobbler in, I don't know, 5-6 years. And she's like, you don't need no peach cobbler. I'm like, I want a peach cobbler. Well, apparently Mr. Coffee heard this and went, challenge accepted. Sorry, I want to move this away from my magnets. So he's like, challenge accepted. And I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. So going back to him being in the kitchen, I'm sitting there and I'm like, so you overheard me tell my mom I want a peach cobbler? What he didn't hear was I wanted my mama to make me a peach cobbler, not him. Look, listen, I love my husband to death. Y'all know I do. I'm obsessed with this man. Like, this is my everything, okay? That's my boo thing. That's not where it's at. Mr. Coffee, no. Okay, no. Okay, no. So I was like, okay, do you have a recipe for this? And he goes, okay, here's the other part of the surprise. And I'm like, what's the other part of the surprise? He goes, I got a recipe from your mom. For those of y'all who don't know, I've been trying to get this recipe off my mom for years, okay? But we are Southern, so we don't use numbers or measurements in recipes. So she didn't want to write it down for me. I was finally able, after, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, to get her to show me how to make her homemade banana pudding. And I'm not talking about that crap banana pudding you buy in the store where they put vanilla and then like a banana flavoring into the vanilla. No. This is stirring a pot for 10 minutes until you have like actual pudding. You're using flour, sugar, eggs, all the things to make an actual pudding. Like, I can make banana pudding from scratch, okay? Forget that. Take Bill Cosby and his pudding cups away. I don't need you. I can make my own, thank you. So I know how to make banana pudding. Finally, I can make Southern homemade banana pudding. This woman would not give me this peach cobbler recipe. I felt offended in every fiber of my being. But somehow, she was able to get the recipe to my husband. Of all people on this planet, she gives it to my husband. He ain't Southern. He don't know how to read a Southern recipe. Like, it's like a different language if you got a Southern recipe. Literally, like, even ask Becky. There's no measurements. Whenever I will give Becky recipes for what's in the pot Wednesday, there was no measurements. It was 2 boxes of this. Put a little bit of that in there. Like, there's no half cup of cream. Half cup of this. No, we don't use measurements. How many times do I have to say this? He knows this. He's been with me for 12 years. So I'm like, hold up. Now take it. Mr. Coffee isn't a social butterfly. He's not a people person. He's just not. He's very backwards and shy, and he it's not that he hates people. He just doesn't want to talk or interact with them, which is fine. Like, that's your life. You do your thing, boo-boo. Which is weird now because he has friends, and his friends want to like take him out to go do things. Like, one guy this weekend wanted him to go to the roller derby or something, or the demolition derby. That's what it was, the demolition derby. And he was like, I got ferrets. I'm like, what kind of excuse is that? Like, this is the stupid stuff that he says, okay? He has ferrets, so he can't go to the demolition derby. I'm like, well, where is the demolition derby? He's like, Sydney. Australia? He's like, Montana. What? Look, listen, he's like, why would I go to Australia? I don't know. Maybe you wanted to go visit somebody. I don't know. Like, you said Sydney, and I thought Australia. Anyways, so he's like, no. And I'm like, please tell me you didn't really give him the excuse that you have ferrets, so you can't go to the demolition derby. This man legit told this guy he could not go to the demolition derby because he has ferrets. I don't know what's wrong with him, y'all. He'll get right one day. Today ain't that day. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, hold up. Wait a minute. You're telling me you contacted my mom. Now, my husband does not talk to my parents unless I'm on the phone with them already. He has never picked up the phone and went, hey, how are you guys doing today? I need your help with something. So the fact that he did, I was flabbergasted, okay? Like, hold up. And of all people, my mom. Now, he rarely ever talks to my mom because I don't talk to her that much either. Like, I don't have a problem with her. I just don't talk to her. I don't have anything to say to her, so I don't call her. I talk to my dad all the time. But I don't talk to my mom like that. Like, we don't need to. Like, we call and talk to each other, like, I don't know, once every couple of months. Plus, she already knows what's going on with me because my dad keeps me on the phone all day. So I'm just like, hold up. You called my mama for her recipe and she gave it to you? And he's like, well, yeah. He's saying, yeah, like this is some easy thing that I haven't been trying for the last decade to do. And I just kept forgetting or something. And I'm like, the fact that this woman gave you the recipe hurts my insides because I've been trying to get this recipe out of her for, I don't know, almost 6-7 years. Anyways, so I was like, okay, so what is it that you're trying to do? He's like, I'm trying to make you a peach cobbler. I got that. What's the problem? If she gave you the recipe. Now, Mr. Coffee, for those of you who don't know, because he's not the strongest cook, he follows recipes to a T. Mr. Coffee is a strictly by-the-book type person. I'm fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants type person. He is by the book. If the recipe says 2 peas, he is putting 2, count them, 2 peas in that pot, okay? He ain't doing nothing extra. Don't ask him to do nothing extra. We ain't adding nothing extra. If it says 2 peas, he's getting 2 peas to put in that pot. So he's sitting here with my mama recipe for her peach cobbler. And I'm like, you have the holy grail of Southern recipes right now, and you need help. What is it that you need help with? He goes, what's a pinch? And he's like, what? Your 2 fingers? You pinch something? What? Why are you asking me about a pinch? He goes, okay, look at this. He shows me his phone, and I read the recipe, and I'm like, she legit gave you the recipe for her peach cobbler. Before I gave him his phone back, I forwarded it to myself in case something happens. I have it too, because my luck, something would happen between me and Mr. Coffee, and he would keep the recipe and not give it to me, okay? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't get what the problem is. It tells you like how to make it right here. And he goes, where are the units of measurement? What? Now take it. We have been together for 12 years. And this man has asked me for units of measurements in a recipe he got from my mama. Y'all, I don't think y'all understand the severity of this. Y'all know how old my mama is? She ain't like, you know, ungodly old. But she's obviously older. Like old school older. I want to know an older down south woman, because it's not just black folk. There's some older white people that live down south that have been raised down south that are the exact same way. They don't got no measurements in their recipes, and if you read them and you're not Southern, you have no clue what the hell that recipe says. So I'm like, honey, you got a Southern recipe. It doesn't have units of measurements. He goes, why not? Because they don't. They don't. So he goes, okay, what does this mean? A pinch of salt. He goes, well, how much is that? You take your fingers, and you pinch some salt and put it in there. He goes, how do I know that's enough? I'm like, you listen to the ancestors. They tell you it's enough. And he goes, what is that? What? What do you mean listen to the ancestors? And I'm like, oh, sweet Lord and baby Jesus. He's like, hold on, what does that mean? I love you. I really do. I had to walk away for a minute and come back and collect myself because I was just like, this mofo did not just ask me, what are the ancestors? Now, if you are a Southern person, you know who the ancestors are. If you're not, let me explain it to you. Down south, we have this thing called, you know, not using measurements. Because the ancestors whisper to us when we are putting too much seasoning or putting just like, if we're seasoning food, your ancestors are like, that's enough. That little voice in your head, that's like, that's enough seasoning. That's the ancestors, okay? We call that the ancestors because that's how they pass down recipes to us, is essentially they live in our head. And whenever we're putting seasoning on something, that's enough. Put a little bit extra this in there. Like that's what we call the ancestors. My husband had no clue what the hell I was talking about. So I come back a few minutes later and I'm like, you ever hear that little voice in your head? And he goes, no, only you're crazy like that. I'm like, let me finish my goddamn own sentence. Y'all see how this man is roasting me, but he trying to make a peach cobbler and he can't figure out the recipe. So I should have just left him, but I didn't want him to ruin the recipe because I love peach cobbler. So I'm like, and yes, for those who, before somebody says something, yes, I do know Patti LaBelle makes a peach cobbler. No, I don't want to try it. Once you've had good peach cobbler from one person, look, listen. I'm not going to cheat on my mama with Patti LaBelle. I'm not doing it. Pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, all day I would cheat on my mama. But peach cobbler, no ma'am, no ham, no turkey. Won't be cheating on my mama with that recipe. So I was just like, all right. So do you ever hear something that tells you that you're putting too much seasoning or not enough seasoning? He's like, no. This is going to be hard for you. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, because you don't know, you don't hear your ancestors telling you when you're putting too much or not enough, or you add something else to the recipe. And he's like, oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm trying to explain it to him. He's not getting it. And I was like, fine. Grab a pinch of salt and put it in there. And he puts a pinch of salt in. He goes, what if that's not enough? It's enough. It's enough. We both have high blood pressure. It's enough. Okay. And then it's like a dash of flour. And he goes, what's a dash? I'm like, remember how you used your two fingers to do a pinch? This is a dash. And he goes, why don't Southern people use measuring cups? I'm like, because back in the day, we couldn't afford measuring cups. So we use this and this. We taste it to taste. That's why everything is to taste. Okay. You'll see a recipe from my mom for anything that she has to cook that's not baking. Everything is to taste, because we didn't have measuring cups. All we had was to taste. And he's just like, okay. And I was like, yeah. So go ahead and put a dash of flour in there. He goes, like a pizza? Like, am I supposed to? And I'm like, no, you're supposed to not. What is this? We're not flipping pizza. We're dashing flour in. You're dashing flour. You're putting it in a pot. You're not sprinkling your counter with flour so you can make pizza dough. Like, what are you doing? Like, you could tell he's New York because I said dash and he went like this instead of like this. There is a difference. There is a difference. I'm like, did you even sift the flour? And he's like, what does that mean? Oh, sweet Lord. I'm like, if you don't sift that flour, boy. He goes, how much flour am I supposed? I'm like, oh my God. So I get the flour, put some in the little sifter. I sift it out. He goes, oh, look, it's all light and fluffy. I'm like, yes. So he puts it in. And he goes, I don't know. Like, he's struggling, y'all. He is struggling trying to make this recipe. So I call my parents and I'm like, hold up. One, this is the sweetest thing Mr. Coffee has ever done. The fact that he called my mom on his own to surprise me by making her peach cobbler was the sweetest thing my husband's ever done for me. And I will always appreciate it. We're going to tell you how it turned out here in a few minutes. But I called my parents and I'm like, Ma, what did you do? She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, what did you do? She's like, I didn't do anything. Oh, you didn't do nothing? You didn't give your son-in-law a recipe with no measurements, knowing his ass can't cook, and expecting him to make said recipe? And she goes, how'd it turn out? I'm like, he's still making it. I'm pretty sure at this point he's ready to cry in the fetal position on the floor in the middle of the kitchen because he can't read the recipe. And she goes, well, is he right there? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, will you talk him through it? Him and my mom, or my mom and my dad are bickering in the background about how much syrup to put into it and how many peaches and how much flour and all this. They're bickering back and forth. He finally gets it in the oven. And I go, now listen for your ancestors to tell you it's done. And he goes, okay. So I was like, all right, Jordan, you want to check on that? Like 5 minutes later, I'm like, check on it. And he's like, it's not done. I'm like, I know, but you want to check on it to make sure it's not bubbling over, to make sure it's not catching on fire. This is not a flambe, I think it's what it's called. This is not one of those fancy souffles that you set on fire. This is a peach cobbler. You got to be careful. You got to caress this. You got to put love into this, because if you make this with, which, by the way, next question of the video, we're not even 30 minutes in. Can you taste when somebody's angry when they make food? Because I call that cooking with hate, and I don't appreciate it. I don't like it, and I don't appreciate it. If you don't put your foot in that food when you're making it, you can taste it. And when I say put your foot into it, because, okay, let me continue with the Mr. Coffee story, and I'll explain what that means for those folks who don't know what it means to put your foot in it. So he puts it in the oven, and I make him check it 3 times before it's done. Not because I thought it was going to burn, but because you have to keep checking it because it has heavy syrup in it from the peaches, and that stuff bubbles while it's cooking the dough stuff on top. So you have to check it. And I'm like, check on it, make sure it's okay. And he's like, it's fine. It looks done. He opens the oven. He goes, it's not done. He realized, one, that stoves have an oven light. But he's the Emerald Lagasse of the baking. And 2, that apparently our new oven, has I thought it was dirty, so I tried to clean it. Nay. It has a brown filter on it. that makes the food look done when you look through the stove at it, but when you open it up, the food's not done. So he was just like, who put this brown filter on here? I'm like, I cleaned that stove personally. There was no dirt coming off that stove. So if there's anything on it, it has to be a filter of some sort. And I asked the lady at the complex, I just happened to see her out at the dog park, and she said, yeah, there's a, brown filter on it. I don't know why, but there is. So I was like, all right, bet. So there's a brown filter over it. So he thought it was done. He was getting ready to take it out and then realized it wasn't done. I'm like, no, it still needs a couple of minutes. And my dad was like, yeah, give it a couple more minutes. Gives it a couple more minutes. He puts it up on the counter. He goes, did I do it right? I'm like, it looks right. It did look right. So, he goes, you gonna try it? I'm like, you gonna try it? Mr. Coffee has never had peach cobbler. Now take it. We've been married for 12 years. We have been at my parents' house for many occasions where my mom has actually made peach cobbler, because getting my mom to make these sweets is a feat. Okay, enough, like, we have to sign a child petition and like submit our inquiries within like a month of whatever holiday. Like, if I could go down for Thanksgiving, the first thing I would put on there is I want banana pudding and peach cobbler. I hate pie. Unless it's sweet potato or pumpkin, I hate pie. I'm not a pie person. I will eat the crust and leave the filling. I don't like pie. I hate apple pie. Is my least favorite. I hate it. I can't stand it. I will eat the top of it. Will not eat the filling. I don't like pie. Are you a pie person? Write that down in the comments. Y'all getting all kinds of questions today. And I was a little worried about trying it because he's never made it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if he added too much salt, if he didn't put enough syrup, if he didn't do this, it's not going to taste right. I was scared, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Don't tell him. I was scared to death. I waited 2 hours to try it. I was hoping that he would try it because he's never had peach cobbler. So I was like, don't you want to try it? He was like, no, you try it. So the way my body's set up, I'm gonna need to try. I'm gonna need you to try that first. I'm gonna need you to try that first, because look, listen, you ain't about to get me to try no recipe that you ain't try yourself first. Okay, chef's kiss. Try it. He goes, you try it, because you're gonna know if it tastes the way it's supposed to. And I'm like, all right, fine, we'll both try it. So I get a fork. Getting ready to spit it out, because I'm like, there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell. I stab into it. Now, if you've ever had a peach cobbler, okay, peach, which, by the way, if you hear that noise, it's the air conditioner. I don't know why it's kicking on, because it's not hot outside or in here, but either way. If you've ever had a peach cobbler, it's supposed to be juicy, not like watery and runny, but it's supposed to have like this kind of thickish liquid to it. Y'all, I stabbed into that breading because the way it happens is the breading comes to the top, and then it's supposed to go golden brown, right? And then like the underneath part is supposed to like suck up some of the juices, but there's still supposed to be juices left. Well, Mr. Coffee, I think, didn't put enough syrup in it. It was dry, y'all. It was like Sahara Desert dry. He gets an A for effort, but it was a little dry. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that he didn't use enough syrup, it would have been on point. And I tasted it, and I was like, oh my God, it actually tastes good. He's like, what is that supposed to mean? Nothing, I love you. I was worried that you were going to muck this up because, look, listen, it ain't easy making Southern recipes, okay? It is not easy. And so he goes, okay, I'll try it. After I try it, he gonna try it. Okay, you try it. So he tries it. Oh my God, this is disgusting. I know you did not just disrespect my ancestors by saying peach cobbler was disgusting. And I told him, I'm like, honestly, it's a little dry, but if you would have added a little bit more syrup, it would have been on point. I'm like, technically, you can still add the syrup. You just need another can of peaches. But if you're going to do that, you might as well make a whole new thing. He goes, well, if I make another one, I want a new cake pan. Why? Why? Why do you need a... because the one he was using was older. And I'm like, yeah, it's seasoned. It's seasoned. It's okay. He goes, no, I want a new. I'm like, you just want excuses to buy more cake pans. He got a new cake pan. He's going to try it again. But he did not like the taste of the peach cobbler. And I was just like, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't do that to just y'all. I do that to everybody I encounter. The first thing I say, I'm about to say something that you might not like when I go, I'm not gonna lie. That's all Southern people. That's our favorite phrase. I'm not gonna lie. It would have been good, but it was a little dry. It was a little dry. You could take something to drink with that. And he goes, well, I didn't want to mess this up for your birthday. I ruined your birthday. Like, he was acting like it was his birthday and it was ruined because he messed up the peach cobbler. I'm like, dude, I asked you for pound cake. I should have just bought the pound cake. Yeah, you should have. So he comes home yesterday, which was my birthday. He goes, I got something for you. And I'm thinking, oh, bring on the Snuggie. I'm about to snuggle up on the couch with my tablet and draw. Yeah. He hands me a pound cake, and I was like, oh, well, that's nice. He hands me some flowers, and he goes, they didn't have tulips, but I know you like sunflowers as well. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. Come on, Snuggie. And he's like, what? I'm like, what else you got for me? He's like, nothing. What you mean, nothing? Y'all. All I asked for from this man, because he asked me what I wanted, and I'm not a fancy person, okay? For those of y'all who don't know Miss Coffee, I'm not a fancy person. I'm going to explain what I mean by that here in a few minutes, but I'm not a fancy person. I am very easy to please. Sweatpants, t-shirt with some kind of snarky saying on it, which he won't buy me those anymore because I can make them myself now, so he's just like, well, just make your own t-shirt. Oh, well, that's rude. But snarky t-shirts, candy, like Haribo gummy bears are my favorite. I love gummy worms too, but Haribo gummy bears, like, they just hit different. I'm like, I'm not a hard person to please. And I was super excited about that damn Snuggie. This mother chicken didn't even get me the damn Snuggie. I'm like, you sack of nuts. I'm gonna need you, if you do not want to be murdered today, I'm gonna need you to get onto that Amazon website. And I'm gonna need you to order that Snuggie. Or I'm going to beat you with one of these fans. I literally had this exact fan, and I told him I was going to hit him with it if he didn't order me that Snuggie. So he ordered me the Snuggie. So it'll be in a couple of days. But, yeah, it was a good birthday. Maggie drew me a Pegalamacorn, and Orion drew me a Pegalamacorn, because there is a difference. One's a llama, one's a horse. Those were interesting drawings. I don't even know where they're at right now, or I would show them to you. But the kids drew me pictures, and they sang happy birthday to me. Maggie sang happy birthday to me Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and this morning when she was getting out of the car, she was still singing happy birthday. But next up is the Maggie's birthday. Did anybody else hear that? Look, listen. Maggie's birthday is coming up, okay? This child is going to be 9 years old. I have not a clue as to what to get her. She has babies. She says she wants a dollhouse, but not like my dad bought her a big dollhouse, but she didn't want one that size. She wanted something a little bit, like this was like a life-size dollhouse. She didn't want one that size. She wanted something a little bit smaller. And I was just like, okay. And she goes, and some more babies. And ooh, and can I get some more Barbies? She loves Barbies right now. So I was just like, we'll get you some more Barbies and stuff. But they can't be the generic Barbies, because they do make generic Barbies. They break too easily. They have to be legit Barbies. So trying to find legit Barbies, I remember last year, is hard. And essentially, I want to get her like Barbie and Skipper and whatever their dog's name is, and Ken. She has one Ken doll. And according to her, her Ken doll is getting all the ladies, like, upset because he's dating all of them. So he needs a friend, another guy doll, because right now it's only one guy versus the 45 other babies and Barbies that she has. And I'm just like, yeah, you need another guy doll. So we're going to get her probably a Ken doll and some kind of little Barbie house. But I told you guys that lived outside of the US, Mexico, and Canada that I would be doing Scentsy again with another agent. I do plan on doing Scentsy again with another agent for Maggie's birthday. And so be on the lookout for that. The problem is I need to find a UK Scentsy seller, because right now the woman that the woman I've been in talks with can sell to New Zealand and Australia. And I'm not sure how many people in New Zealand and Australia buy Scentsy or even want Scentsy, but there is quite a few people that wanted it that live in the UK or Ireland. So I was like, I need to find a UK seller of Scentsy. So if you know somebody, hit us up. Anyways, so that was my birthday. It was like the beginning of the day was rough because nobody was here with me. I was by myself. And Miss Coffee, again, should not be unsupervised. I was sitting here playing with the ferrets, and I got to talk to family yesterday, which was nice because I don't really talk to my family a whole lot because I don't want to. I grew up with you. I don't want to talk to you as an adult. And my sister called me that morning, and she's like, happy birthday! And for those of you who don't know, I actually share a birthday with my niece. My niece is 23 years old. So for the last 14 years, I've been sharing a birthday with her. And my sister like FaceTimed me to say happy birthday, and she's like, hold up, I gotta get the other birthday girl, because it's never just my birthday anymore. Not for 14 years. It's been our birthday, which I finally come, like, after like, I don't know, 12 years me sharing a birthday with her, I finally come to terms with it's okay. It's okay. You can share your birthday. Nobody's taking that spotlight off of you. You just share it with somebody else, which is fine. But in my family, like in my parents' eyes, that is no longer my birthday. That's her birthday. She's a grandkid. That's her birthday. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, let's call her. Because I haven't talked to my niece in a while, a good long while. So she messages my niece, and my niece pops into the FaceTime with us. And I'm like, hey, auntie baby. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, Miss Coffee has lots of nieces and nephews. Like a lot of them. Okay, like 100 of these things. Like, there's a lot. There's not exactly 100, but there's a lot. There's like 30 or 40 of them or something. So I'm like, hey, auntie baby, how you doing? Like, I'm somebody's auntie, yes. And she's like, I'm doing good, Auntie Alishia. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. What's up, birthday girl? She's like, hi, birthday twin. I'm like, hey. And we sat and chit-chatted for a little bit. And I was getting the ferrets out of the cage because they come out of the cage in the morning. So I was getting the ferrets out of their cage, which I have to do that as soon as I'm finished here. But I was getting the ferrets out of the cage, and she's like, is that a bear? I'm like, is that a bear? Because Anais had crawled up on my shoulder and was sitting there like facing the camera like, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, small woodland creature, you don't need to like have your whole business up in the camera. And she's like, it looks like a teddy bear. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a ferret. And she's like, auntie, you got a ferret? I'm like, actually, I kind of got two. And I lifted up Gumball because I was holding Gumball, but Anais decided she was going to jump on me and then climb me like I'm a tree. And she's like, they look like little teddy bears. And I'm like, they don't act like it. They definitely don't act like little teddy bears. They might look cute, but let me tell you, these things are aliens. So I'm sitting there talking to my sister and my niece, and I ain't thinking nothing of it. And I don't get to talk to this sister too often. This is Auntie Tisha. I don't get to talk to her too often. She works overnight, so I don't like bothering her unless I know she has a day off or something. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, you know, chitter-chattering with them, and the ferrets are running around the back room here, and because we block off half the kitchen and they have the entire craft room that they can run around in. And they're only about this big, okay? Like, they don't need the entire house just yet. They need to be fully potty trained before I feel comfortable letting them run through my house. I ain't about to have them running through my house, pooping and peeing everywhere, no. So I'm sitting there and I'm like talking to my niece and my sister. And I feel one of them go into my pocket. So I pull them out. I wasn't looking. I just pulled them out, put them off to the side. And I kept talking to my sister and my niece. Well, and I was like, all right, well, you know, ladies, I got to get going. Thank you so much for calling with the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Happy birthday, you know, Daedria. That's my niece's name is Daedria. I was like, happy birthday, Daedria. I hope you have a good day. And she's like, I'm sure I will. I just don't feel like celebrating this year. I'm like, yeah, me either. So I get you. So I'm like, but I gotta go. I gotta go clean ferret cages and do stuff. So I'll talk to you guys later. And they were like, all right, bet. I get off there. I go clean out the ferret cage. I'm thinking anything else, just living my best life, you know. I gotta go take the ferret like stuff out, because when I clean out the cage, I don't leave the bag in the house. I take it out to the dumpster outside. So I put the bag in the dumpster outside. And so I'm just sitting there like, okay, grab the bag. And I was like, is there anything else that needs to go outside? No? All right. So I go outside. I close the door because, of course, we have dogs. And if they see a bunny, they're gone. So I close the door because I keep a key card in my pocket. Now, I don't have a regular key like you put in the door and turn it. I have a card that I touch my door with and it opens my door. Like a hotel. So, well, no, because some hotels you have to stick the card into the door. I don't have to stick the card in. It's like a proximity meter. It touches it and it's just like, oh, okay, you live here. So I go out, I close the door, I go around down the steps around the house to the dumpster, put it in the dumpster, and then come back around. And it's not like a big like apartment dumpster. It's one of the trash cans with the wheels on it that you wheel to the end of the street at the end of the week, and then they come in like, you know, that kind of dumpster. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, bet. I get the trash, put it in the dumpster because I don't put it in the house, because that's another reason why your house could stink from ferrets, is because if you leave their waste in the house, yeah, it will smell. So I went ahead, put it in the dumpster. I couldn't walk back up the stairs. Walk back up the stairs. And why is it whenever you're missing something, you start to frisk yourself? Like you magically put that card in a place that isn't normally where you would put it. Like you're sitting there like, where did I put that? I didn't have the key card in my pocket. I didn't know why. Of course, in true Miss Coffee form, I freak out because I'm like, where the hell is my key card? Can't find it, can't find it. So I go up to the door and I start scratching at the door. Now, if you scratch at the door, usually, Killian, any other time, usually this dog is like, oh, look, somebody's at the door. He will jump up and open the door. And the baby lock wasn't locked because I just left out the door. So, and it's not automatic. Like you have to manually set that lock so that it doesn't move the handle. And speak of the devil. Hi, Killian. Yo, that dog is creepy. He walked away. Anyways, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, let me freak out about this like I'm freaking out. I'm trying to get Killian's attention. He's not paying me any attention. Like I see him through the window sitting by the door. But for some reason, the usual scratching at the door is not making him jump up to get the handle. So I was like, of course not, you jerk. And so I freaked out for a few minutes and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Alishia, go get the emergency key card. I keep one around the house. So I was like, God. All right. So I go get the emergency key card. I open the door, close the door. I'm like, all right, let me go put this. No, I hide it around, like somewhere around my house so that if I lock myself out, like I've continuously done now since we've moved here, I have some way to get back in. So I'm like, all right. I go back out. I get a key card out of my purse because I keep them in my purse. I get a key card out of my purse. Take the other one. I go hide it back outside somewhere. I message Mr. Coffee so he knows where it's at in case he needs it, which he doesn't because he has a wallet. His stays in his wallet, so he just touches his wallet to the door. Boom, he's in the house. So I tell Mr. Coffee where I put the key card. He's like, all right. He goes, you lock yourself out again. We're not going to talk about it. Come back in the house and I'm like, where the hell is my key card? Don't you know this little thief has stolen my key card? You remember when I said I was talking to my sister and one of them went into my pocket? Apparently Anais, of course, Anais, went into my pocket to get said key card. When I pulled her out, I didn't look. So I didn't notice that she had it. I come back in the house because I'm only supposed to be out there for like 2 seconds because it's literally walk down the stairs, turn, dumpster, come back up. That's it. I was outside for maybe 10 minutes. I come back and I'm like, what happened to my key card that was in my pocket? Did it fall out? Let me check the garage. I'm checking my steps all the way back to like inside of the house. And I'm like, I came over to the ferret cage. I sat on the couch. Did I drop it between the couch cushions? Nope. Nay. I come back here. Anais and Gumball are fighting over my key card. They're trying to stash it. But the problem is Anais has a different stashy spot than Gumball does. So they're fighting over it to put it in their stash. And I'm just like, why? Why? So yeah, so the ferrets are doing great. They're getting big. They're very smart. They have learned to crawl out of their little playpen that we leave, like we kind of have it blocking off part of the kitchen. They've learned to climb out of it, so we've had to cover it in cardboard so they can't climb out of it, but they're still finding ways to do so. Anais really likes Killian, of course, because we have Team Maggie, which consists of Maggie, Killian, and Anais, and then we have Team Orion, which consists of Orion, Daisy, and Gumball, because this is the too chill crew. This is the I got too much energy and I'm just going to destroy your whole world crew. So I'm just like, of course it's you. Of course it had to have been you that took it out of my pocket. So I get my key card, and that was, I want to say that was Sunday. No, that was yesterday, because it was my sister called for my birthday. So yeah, so the ferrets are doing great. The dogs, the only thing is right now is I want to get the ferrets a little bit more comfortable with the dogs. Now, Daisy doesn't care about the ferrets. She's learning to be very careful around them. Like the one time that they were out, she was back here with us and she didn't see the ferret go into the box and she stepped on the box. Now, the ferret didn't make a noise or anything, but she stepped on it and kept walking. And I was like, oh no, Daisy. And Daisy just kind of looks at me and she's just like, what? And I'm just like, okay, all right, let's just take the dogs out. So we took the dogs out, and we don't usually let them back here for the couple of hours that the ferrets are back here, because the ferrets also seem to be a little scared of the dogs. So I was like, until they get comfortable, I don't want to release the ferrets into the house. So we are still working on acclimating the ferrets essentially to the dogs, because the dogs don't care about other animals in the house. Daisy, like I said, is trying to pretend like she's not getting any attention, but I guarantee you she is. And Killian just wants to play with Anais. Whenever he sits on the opposite side of the gate, she will climb up as much as she can so they can touch noses. It's the cutest thing ever. So the dogs and the ferrets are doing great. The ferrets are getting big. Let's talk about the kids in school real quick. So the kids have been in school now for 6 days. And my anxiety is slowly wearing off about them being back in school. Orion's even gotten some of his friends to start wearing masks. He explained to his class that he has asthma, really bad. And his lungs don't work to full capacity, which is the reason why I'm so scared about the panoramic. And so he explained that was the reason why. Well, he has a group of friends in class that they have all started wearing masks now to keep Orion safe. And I told the one kid's parents, I'm like, I really appreciate you letting your child wear a mask. And she explained to me that the reason why he didn't was because she was afraid he was going to get picked at or bullied until he met Orion. And then Orion made him feel comfortable enough to put his mask on. I'm like, well, I'm glad that Orion was able to do that for you. So Orion's doing great. He's made lots of new friends, and it's Orion. Maggie, on the other hand, Maggie is Maggie. Maggie loves school. Sorry. Maggie loves school. She loves her teacher. She's made a couple of friends. Like I told you guys on Friday night, she has a crush. We'll find out the other day that the crush lives up the street here. So I know exactly who the little kid is. But she has a crush on this little boy, and she plays with him and sits with him at lunch and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not ready for this yet. Like, I didn't go through this with Minna. Minna, I think there may be 1 or 2 times where Minna had a crush on a boy. But, like Maggie, she's only 8. She's only 8. I don't understand it. Kids. But she's doing great at school. I did hear from her teacher as well. Because Orion's teachers essentially are just like, he should probably be in advanced classes. Oh, I know. I tried telling you guys this, but because y'all make, open house an hour and a half long, I didn't have time to tell all y'all the same thing over and over again, because Orion switches classes now. So he has 8 classes a day? No. Yeah, I think it's like 8, I think. Anyways. But I'm like, I was going to tell you guys, but I didn't have enough time to. Plus, I needed to get to my daughter's school because she also started school, but she's not going to this school. So because I only had an hour and a half, I didn't tell you guys. So there you have it. Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't know, because his math teacher knew. But Maggie's teacher contacted me to let me know that Maggie can actually read pretty good. And I'm like, oh, I know. she just likes to pretend like she can't read so that you will read to her because she's lazy. And she goes, yeah, a lot of new readers do that because they're worried about misspelling or not misspelling. They're worried about misreading a word or something. And I'm like, I don't know what she's worried about that for. It's not like, you know, that's like me trying to teach English. Have you heard me speak? No, ma'am. So it's just like, well, I'm glad to hear she's doing great. And they're like, yeah, she's doing great in class. She's very active with, you know, what we've got going on. She's one of the only kids that's quiet. I'm like, you hold off right now. You stop lying to me. Don't you lie to me. I don't appreciate being lied to. That's not nice. And she starts laughing. I'm like, I'm not laughing. That's not nice. Maggie has diabetes, okay? You can't tell me she's quiet. She's not. Now you have diabetes. Apparently it's contagious. And she's like, no, ma'am. She's actually really quiet. I'm like, no, see, the problem is she's not quiet. She's wearing a mask, so you can't see if she's actually talking or not. Well, she wanted to test that theory, and she did, and found out very quickly that Maggie, in fact, has been talking with the rest of the class, which isn't a good thing, because when the teacher's trying to teach them something and the kids are talking, yeah. So, but other than that, Maggie's doing great at school. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of days, and I should probably get going because I still have to clean my house. But I hope you guys had a wonderful day. I hope you guys enjoyed some coffee house stories and shenanigans. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, please leave those down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. But with that said, I got to get out of here, folks. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more random crazy videos just like this, please feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and bell to be notified anytime I randomly put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, I must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you that if you're in one of these states that's experiencing this heat wave, stay hydrated, drink your water, girl. Yes. But with that said, I really must bid you adieu. But not before reminding you that it's still hard out here in these crafty streets. This panoramic ain't over, so let's continue to be safe by wearing our masks, washing our hands, don't touch your face out in public, keep your 6 feet, and always try. Be kind. Oh, sorry. Be courteous. Be cool. Bye, guys.